All right. It should be connecting. Excellent connection. All right. Yep, we're live. We are officially on the internet.
Hello, beautiful internet people.
Hello, internet. We don't know what we're doing, so let's start with that. We know a little bit of what we're doing. We know what we want to do.
We have an idea of what we're doing.
We have an idea of what we're doing. Yeah, we're nerds. That's what we are.
Yeah, we play D&D play by post, and it's really sad on paper, but in practice it's slightly less sad.
Yeah,
That's the way we like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like making a movie script live is the best way that it can be described, where your character influences the world around you and other characters influence your world, and it's just ongoing. Like, it just keeps going. Like, there's no end to this movie.
No preparation, no expensive script writers. It's perfect, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. There's some dice rolls. We make it fun and chaotic sometimes. Yeah, so I think we should separate these into like two different parts. One, the beginning is like who we are and any updates or whatever on what we're doing. And then we can do like the whole, there's going to be major spoilers after this point, where we talk about what's happening in the story right now. So people that don't want to know before we get the story out don't have to listen.
I like that.
Everyone's probably going to listen anyway, because they're going to be like, I don't know what this is, so I don't really care. But I don't know, some people like mysteries.
Very true.
I mean, we have all our podcasts. We archive them on YouTube, and check out our YouTube channel. And they could just watch them after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially since now we have the heist up there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So you can see a little bit of what we are planning on doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we need to go on more adventures like that. There aren't enough of those.
That was awesome. The heist was great. We do need more adventures like that.
I have one in mind.
Send it.
Don't tell us now.
Not right. We're going now.
Well, obviously.
Well, guys, I have this really good story idea. Here's the conflict. Here's the plot twist that happens like halfway through.
Yep.
You guys are gonna love it when you read it for the first time.
I'm so excited. What I love about these is we can literally not have any prep, and it turns into an insane story, because I've written like 90% or more of what I write is on the fly. There's no prep, like,
I know,
at all. Yeah. Like, I'll be in the middle of a text and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna say, but I'm starting to say something, so here's some quotes, and then finish the sentence,
It's amazing how we can just create stories like these while we're like at McDonald's drinking our in McFlurry on our lunch break.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yep. So Mortem, we should just start dropping some names here.
Okay.
You tell us what this is. Where are we? Because we are characters, and we are somewhere. And you could give a description even to invite the audience into what our world is like.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember what description I gave for this room a long time ago, but basically Winston's not here at the moment, but the three of us are in space, basically, or the astral sea, sitting at a stone table, talking to you, the viewer, and just in the middle of the astral sea, in a room that's connected to the monastery.
Mm-hmm. There's an invisible door somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Blends right in. So it's like an actual room. It doesn't actually go forever, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
like
No, it doesn't go forever. It is a specific room. It can just look like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was in here for the first time, I had a whole panic attack.
Yeah. It was not a. Yeah.
Yeah, the
It
first
was
time
not
we
the
were
best.
in here, this is when I drew this picture because I was like, oh man,
This room is so cool.
I was like, we're freaking in like Treasure Planet status right now, and I could just envision it where the astral sea is just out there. There's like bajillions of stars, and there's different colors, and there's different clouds of whatever space matter there is or whatever. Like I know about.
Nebulae.
Thank you.
I love
Sarantha's
space. I could go on about space for so long, man.
Sarantha's our
The whole
genius here.
the method that Loxodol all uses to generate power is all based on astrophysics, and it's amazing.
So cool. Yeah. So that's where we're at. Who are we?
Well, who's gonna start?
I'll start first since this is my monastery, I guess, and my room. I am Mortem, a human, black hair with a white skull mask. Wait, no, sorry, it's a black skull mask. That's Winston. Winston has the white one, has the white skull mask, and I wear a mostly white suit with a few spots of black and silver.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then my twin brother Winston is a human as well, wearing a white skull mask and a mostly black suit with a few spots of white.
Yep. You guys run the monastery, which is we'll get into that too, but yeah, that's perfect.
So much stuff to talk about,
I
so little
know.
time.
I know. Okay, Saranth, you go.
I am Sranth. I am a tall blue dragonborn with the finest wings and the most beautiful blue scales. I wear a robe and an amulet of Tiamat, and a peculiar mask of the Dragon Queen.
Very
Beautiful.
What's the word?
Fantasmagorical.
That you
I wouldn't say any of those words, but that's me.
Fantastic.
You're fantastic. You have a presence. There's this like expectation of respect that you just
Demand.
you walk in the room and people are like, okay, this guy isn't just like some normal. Most dragonborns that I've experienced in RPG games have been hot-headed and quick to be angry, I guess. And no, Saranth's like, he knows what he's doing. He's very calculated, I guess would be the word. Professional. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to describe you, but yeah.
A noble inventor.
Just look up any good words in the dictionary, and those will most likely describe me.
and I am Elena. I am a human with black hair with dull silver eyes. I am part of the monastery and usually wear white with a silver cloak. And I wear a white skull mask that's like a half skull mask, so you can still see my smile, made special by Saranth, so I can smile at people. Yeah, we all met in a inn. super, super, you know, stereotypical. You meet in an inn. Like, where does it start? And
Yeah.
Yes, you meet in a tavern and you see a very peculiar-looking person in the corner, and the plot demands you talk to them.
absolutely. Yeah, so we play these characters, and we've been playing them for over 4 months. Mortem, you've been in the inn, or you were in the inn, I think in February or
Yes.
March.
I think
It was early in
it
this
was
year.
it was February for
Mhm.
sure. I don't know how early into February it was,
Yeah.
but it was quite early.
Which was, so we play on Discord and we play with started playing with a group that introduced it, and we've kind of taken the reins, I guess, and we've done our own server now, and so we continue to play, and the story just keeps going. It's just like a normal RPG game where you play your character, and things that happen to you carry with you, and you remember them, and you get items, you go on adventures, all these things happen, you level up when you want to. Um, yeah, but it's written like a book, I guess, is the best way to describe it to people that don't know what post by posts are.
Or if you want to take it kind of like an old school reference, it's like playing chess by mail, or not chess by mail, which people used to do.
Yeah.
Send letters of what move they're going to do next over very long distance.
And a long period of time. This doesn't require you to spend okay, for the next 4 hours we're going to sit down and we're going to play this game. We do it whenever it's convenient.
Yep.
If two of our schedules happen to overlap and we both feel up for it, then we can spend a little more active time. But ultimately, we don't have to.
Yep. So yeah, you can see who's online if you want to by just pinging somebody or messaging someone like, hey, when you're back, like whatever, like I want to try this or whatever. Or you can just walk in and say, oh, my character enters and looks around, see who's there. And then if someone wants to RP with you, they go ahead and they say hello to your character or take you on an adventure. Or yeah. We've done a lot of adventures. There have been a lot of different things that you normally cannot do in normal sit down sessions, just because the time doesn't work, right? Like you can't spend 5 hours just RPing like your experience after you've killed somebody, right? Like you could, but most people don't, and most DMs are like, I can't let you and this other character just talk for 4 hours while no one else does anything. We got to keep the story moving. But this allows us to kind of live out what the characters should be going through that we don't see anywhere else.
Yeah, so we don't have the constraints of typical, I don't want to say mainstream, but
I think just typical TTRPGs would be good, because we can take things a whole lot slower.
yeah.
Yes.
Because even if we were to take this to like Call of Cthulhu as a different example, you probably won't really spend hours upon hours talking to people about, I don't know, why the plane needs gas and gas prices and all this other stuff and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and talk about having things just so slowed down in a way that it's like sometimes it's frustrating to have an adventure be slow, but most of the times it's not. Most of the times it's a surprise of like, oh my goodness, like we went to Sarant's home plane, and I was really excited to go to the casino and start betting on some stuff. And I explained this last week, but our podcast was not saved, unfortunately. So I'm going to repeat it. So if you're watching from last time and you heard this, sorry. But we sat down for dinner, and I was still just thinking, like, I just want to go bet. I just want to go play these games that we've been waiting for, because this was an adventure that lasted, I think, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't
Yeah,
have very
Right?
much time, but
No, it was
Mhm.
fine. Because then we went to this dinner, and Mortem and Elena, we had been bitten by were tigers, and so there was a whole scene of events that happened because of that at the dinner that we wouldn't have experienced any other way if we just skipped to the games. And that is one of my favorite moments of playing, is that moment, because I was dying laughing so hard. And we're gonna animate it because it was so good. Um, yeah, I guess like that's a little
Yeah.
bit of like what we do. I don't know. You guys can. I feel like I'm talking too much. You guys say so.
Let's see. Just trying to think of a favorite moment to say something but not to spoil what's going on. Oh, in the one moment that I remember is the paintball course that's in the monastery. That's been fun to read quite a bit of.
Yes.
As well as the few occasional fights that happen. But those are getting fewer and far between.
if you want to fight someone, you could just bring someone in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, true. I could just make two characters fight, but that's not as fun.
Mm-hmm.
I could show you the ropes if you want to.
I remember fighting. Well, I guess all of you. We've all fought. We've all sparred at one point. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's been yeah, which in 5e at least is how we're playing it. Like if you're brought to 0 hit points, then you start doing death saves, and you could die. There's always that. There's always that risk. I play my character Elena as always accepting all risks. I know that some people don't like that. Some people are like, no, I don't want my character to die ever. But I
And that's
trust.
okay.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, because we already focus more on the role play part of it rather than the, oh, just bring in a god character and kill someone just for story plot. Like you don't need
Yeah.
that for story plot. Like, but yeah. Oh, yep. So we've got big plans, I guess. Like, before we delve into what we're currently in, we have a story. We are compiling the story. We're gonna get a Patreon. We're gonna get other sites up. We're gonna make it available on audio, like a book in a way. Because it's so freaking good. It's such a good story.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Something to
think all
that
of these
effect.
stories are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Go on, Mortal.
Yeah, it's like maybe not a book. Or it was like, it'd probably be something closer to like a screenplay or something like, I don't know. I don't know. Some sort of written form it will be in, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. And we wanted to announce that, and that's why we're making these podcasts now, because we know what we have is going to be received. We just got to get it out there, and this is like the first steps, is starting this habit of, hey, let's have podcasts. Let's get excited about this, and we have a humongous to-do list, which I'm really grateful for everybody helping with that. There's 4 of us game masters that are putting this together, that are like the hardcore group. Yeah, so good stuff's coming. And I'll let you know more, I guess, as it comes.
Yep. Tons of different things planned.
Either way, I think one of the stories that we've had recently was the Drow matron mother's. What was it? We were stealing the Drow matron mother's demon staff.
Yep.
And that whole thing went down.
Yeah, we have it up on our YouTube right now if you want to read it.
Yep. You can join our Discord and you can search for it. You should be able to find that if you wanted to actually read the post and put little emojis with stuff, which is something that we do a lot, is we put GIFs and emojis, and we're always reacting.
Yeah, we always use reactions to show our we always use reactions to show our reactions to things that go down without, interrupting the story, and it's pretty funny.
It adds a whole element of, like, we can't hear each other talk, but we can feel it, through those, like, sus. That's one of my favorite emojis. the sus emoji.
Not the one you think, not the one with the guy. It's the one with the. Oh my god, I can't really describe it. It's not the guy with the sus. It's not the sus imposter guy.
No.
Oh, you're talking Fry from Futurama. Is that who that character is?
The squinty-eyed.
I didn't know who that character was, but now I do.
Yep.
Mortem, I think you started using that every time that we had our bad guy in the other server.
Yep. Every time they popped up or started typing, it just like, I cannot. Something's gonna happen.
So should we jump into the spoiler section, and we can just start?
Yes, I think this would be a great time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So anybody who's watching this, if you don't want spoilers, sorry, we're gonna give some spoilers. You can go ahead and jump off. You can listen to us, because at this point, unless you're actually in our server, you're not gonna know like what's going on. But there's some big stuff that happened this week that's like not season finale stuff, but like, well, no, like a season finale in a way, where you're just like, oh, on season 5 or whatever we're in, out of 20 million, there's going to be so many seasons. But there's stuff that went down this week that was exciting, and I'm excited for what we're going to talk about. But yeah, so jump off now. All right, Sarant, take it away with our.
So, I was doing a creation for something currently redacted, and one of the ingredients I needed was a Drow matron mother's demon staff. I didn't care what happened to the matron mother, and I didn't care who died along the way. All I needed is the matron mother's staff. So, Lena was on board with it, so, for some reason.
You know,
So
I can go into reasons, but you go ahead and tell the story.
we plane shifted along into the Underdark, and
Into a janitor's closet, actually. That was good.
oh yeah, we plane shifted into a
Yep.
janitor's
Into-
closet, like
I was
in
so
the middle of
confused.
nowhere.
I was like, wait.
And as
what?
soon as we step out, it just disappears because I didn't know how plane shift worked, but
No, you're good.
now I do.
Yep. It's,
That's the other thing too, is if we make mistakes like that, because I had written that we entered a cave and then all of a sudden there was a janitor's closet here, and it was like, that is just how it works. So like, it's now part of the story, and we can look back and laugh on it. Like there's some
mhm.
random thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. We have we enter a cave and we find some caravan traders trading with some surfacers, and we end up sneaking past them without being detected, and we end up sneaking through the Underdark, and it was spooky. There was a big ravine that we had to get through without, dying and falling in, or falling in and then dying. Until we finally reach the city gates. And then when we do, there were guards that were more than happy to, stab us. But we were disguised, so it was no issue. If somebody else wants to keep going, and if I miss something, I don't.
No, you're good. So we had to go. Had to go into this house, which my knowledge of the Underdark is mostly from Legend of Driss by R.A. Salvatore writings, where there's like there's houses of these matron mothers that are super important, and there's ones that aren't as important. And we decided to hit one that wasn't as important.
There's a little no name named, what was it, Azura.
Azurna, which
Azurna.
Okay.
Which I helped you pick that name, and was like, what if we take a point in her history? Because you can go on like the Forgotten Realms wiki, and she's got a whole page of like what she becomes eventually. And it was like, what if we take her story, but like jump in before stuff happens, before she's this super powerful matron mother.
Yeah. And that's what we did.
Yeah. We had multiple tools at our disposal. Like, I think everybody was a spellcaster. Everybody there was a spellcaster except for Cathral. Cathral was, he didn't have a disguise, so he was just, taunted by the guards.
No.
No, everyone
he was disguised
didn't
as
have a
Gorm.
disguise.
Oh, what was it?
He was Gorm. He changed that.
Oh yeah.
He was freaking Gorm.
Oh yeah, Gorm.
Yep.
But he tried to lie to them and say that the Spider Queen Lolth sent them, but they instantly succeed any insight check to discern a lie.
Which I didn't know that. Which
is
really cool for you to show that little.
Yeah, a lot of the. I think all of the guards. All the guards. The stat sheets that I use, they cannot be lied to, or at least not. If they hear a lie, they know if it's a lie, but they still are foiled by disguises and such. But we end up sneaking in up this side, and then break into the matron mother's bedroom itself. Which was, there was probably a better way to do it, rather than walking up the side like fucking Spider-Man. But if there was a better solution, we are a bit late.
Yeah, no, it was good. I had to mention
I know.
Mortem, grabbed Mortem.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
I remember being like, "Hey, Mortem, here's a piece of here's a little spider to try to give you spider climb."
Yeah, Mortem was like, "No, I'm good. Gives the spider back and just walks up the wall because he can do that.
Yep. It's like, oh, I forgot. And then I ate the spider and then walked up.
Yeah, she ate the spider. I could just fly. I was invisible.
Mm-hmm.
I had a dagger that if you stab someone with it, they don't get hurt. They instead just go invisible.
Mm-hmm.
I love that dagger, man.
You've used different daggers for different things. Like I remember the healing dagger. Like
Yeah, that was the same dagger. It was just modified for this event.
Healing dagger. That's funny.
Yeah, I remember stabbing Drixie with it, and Vaxir was so scared.
You did? Oh right.
Yeah, I stabbed
Oh,
Drixie
right.
with it.
To heal. I remember when you were stabbing me with it during our spar, because I didn't.
Oh yeah.
I didn't freaking touch you. I was so pissed. So I was just like, I'm just gonna taunt you the whole time, you know, and I did, and I deserved every bit of.
And he still remembers that moment, and he still hates you for it.
Yeah. Well, I apologized afterwards.
Yeah, you apologize afterwards, but sorry doesn't fix the hurt dignity. Sorry doesn't hurt a fixed dignity, Elena.
I know. I'm
Wait.
sorry. Yeah. No, there was. Yeah, because you took me to 0 HP, and then you stabbed me to heal me, and then you had haste, so you could attack again on your turn and knock me down again.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
Brutal.
I'm gonna die.
You
Called
me a lizard.
I did call you a lizard.
I'm not a lizard. I'm a beautiful dragon.
I know. That was the worst. She changed a lot after that. I don't know if you've noticed, but she's not. I mean, the next spar after that was with Mortem in Thrain.
Mm-hmm.
And Mortem, you were like, come on, let's fight. And I almost like was ready to go. And then I remembered that fight with Saranth and was like, I can't fight. I can't do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember that now.
But that was because I didn't like who I was. It took getting beaten up by Zaranth to realize that, you know, being angry in a fight is pointless in a way. I don't know. Like there was, yeah.
Yeah.
Anger solves nothing.
Yeah.
Being truly angry in a fight is not helpful.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Anyways, this is a really long tangent. I apologize.
Me too.
Okay.
That's what it's gonna be though, because we have so much content.
I know, right? We have
jump
so
around.
many
Yeah.
months of stories and not enough time to talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
But where were we? All right. We sneak up into the matron mother's room,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah,
Snuck into the party. There was a party going on.
yeah, there was a party going on, so that's why she wasn't in there. There was lots of valuables that looked very stealable, but I was able to restrain myself.
Oh,
for a time.
I because I had to record the whole script of that for our YouTube, I did read what Winston and Saranth were saying, and totally didn't like. I try not to meta. I try not to like read those when they're blocked in black. And so I just realized at that moment, oh frick, I can't plane shift us out of here anymore without a short rest. And I was like, we didn't do a short rest before, and I'm not going to backtrack and say, hey, could we have just taken a short rest before we like came in here? Because no,
Yeah,
you forget, and that's life. Like you're imperfect, and you're going to forget. So that's where we were, and I was like, I need a short rest. Saranth nearly lost it, being like, what? Because you were about to be like, let's steal it, and then we'll grab Elena, and then we'll get out of here. And that would have been bad.
Yes. If it isn't bolted down, it is ours.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, snuck upstairs with Mortem, got injected with a shot that...
Yes, I drugged you.
What does your drug do?
It does whatever I want it to. It depends on what I give you, and you don't know what I give you. But that one will let you take a short rest in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Which is brilliant.
Once the mixture is, activated by a electric charge.
Mm-hmm. I love the flavor.
Yeah, I still don't know how you were able to get a 7th level spell slot with a short rest. Is plane shift a 7th level spell?
Divination wizard. I'm allowed to, my what is it? My recovery.
Arcane recovery?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that okay.
It allows me
Yeah.
to get a spell slot back up to my max, or lower ones but equal to that. So a level 1 and a level 5 is fine,
Okay.
So I was like,
so arcane recovery, because you were at least 14th level, you were able to get it. Okay.
Yep.
I keep forgetting about arcane recovery because the one wizard I've ever played was just a level 1 wizard dump, because the DM gave us a really tiny little thing creature and I wanted it as a familiar, and I took a level dip in wizard so I could have a familiar.
Awesome.
Nice.
And, the shield spell, but nobody talks about that.
Shield is great.
I know, right?
Shield is absolutely fantastic.
But again, we ended up sneaking in. We noticed that the door, it was probably trapped. So Winston ended up going through the shadows to go underneath it without triggering whatever trap may or may not have been on there.
Mm-hmm. To get in at least. And then we took the short rest. Saranth was like, okay, get out and get Catherall and get ready. And then, tell me when you're ready. And we'll steal it, and then we'll meet you there. You and Winston were going to stay behind and grab it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they ended up getting out. When they gave me the signal with message, because message cantrip's really good.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole clusterfuck. I described what it sounded like from the bottom. There was a scream. I think it was like a scream, a roar, an explosion, and another explosion, and then another explosion. The first explosion was a roar, like a roar, an explosion, and an explosion. There were a lot of explosions. And then when the dust settled, they were missing, how much was it? 7,000 gold pieces worth of just pretty things. And the glyph of warding that was on the matron mother's door got triggered, so it was trapped.
Mm-hmm.
And they were not very happy.
No.
But they didn't really care, because we didn't care if they were happy or not, because I have the staff, and we were in Avernus next thing that we knew.
Yep.
Plane shift.
We plane shifted. Yeah.
In Avernus, we just, relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't found a fence for that photo.
There was also a little sneak peek into Cathrall. Cathrall did a little. Cathrall, I freaking can't pronounce his name.
Cathrall.
Thank you.
If you can remember it that way, Cathrall.
He was the decoy distraction for the guards, so I went ahead and was like, "Oh, I'll just run a little adventure while we're doing our adventure." And so he has a little highlight of what he does, and how he avoids even confronting them. And then Winston just annihilates them.
Yep.
Yeah, Winston. I think Winston has a higher body count than Saranth in that event, which is really surprising.
Yeah, it depends on the day for Winston.
I think Saranth has he killed 2 people that he used as disguises.
Mm-hmm.
He just went into the bathroom, and anybody who had to, to take a leak during the party, they were stuffed into a bag.
They weren't killed. They were plane shifted into.
Yeah, Winston.
Yeah,
so
we never described what happened to them afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
They just disappeared somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're somewhere else.
Mhm.
They're totally safe. Trust me.
That's gonna come up later. Someone's gonna bring in
Yeah.
their character, and they're gonna be like, "I remember you," like. But we were disguised.
We
But-
were also disguised, so that's why Winston
Okay.
did it, because they
Yeah.
would have to just see through his
Yes.
disguise.
Yeah. I think that the Inquisitors, the guards, they had the ability to cast True Sight, but they had no reason to ever think anything was amiss enough to cast True Sight.
Mhm.
Mhm.
We should definitely encourage people that if they want to incorporate themselves somehow in our stories, like it would be so cool to have someone that's that drow that Winston had plane shifted, right?
Oh yeah.
And they
That
come
would
into
be
the
awesome.
story,
That would
and they're
be
just like,
interesting.
this one time I was at a party. And
Yeah,
I went
it
to the
was
bathroom
super
and
weird. You
woke
gotta
up.
believe me.
Like, yeah. Like, so I don't go into the bathroom alone anymore. You know, like something like that Winston would
Mhm.
just be like, you know, like, oh my gosh, like that's me. Like
Mhm.
this story is supposed to be intertwined. Like we want people to feel included. And
Yeah.
so definitely do that. That was just a thought that I had. Like someone should do that.
Yeah, that sounds so cool.
Yeah.
I will say right now though, Saranth killed his. They're dead now.
Yeah,
Oh.
That does not surprise me.
Mm-mm.
They weren't dead at the moment, but they're dead now. He killed them off camera.
There you go. Yeah, so the
Whatever horrible way you thought he did,
That's hard.
I'll leave that to your head canon. There actually is a canon way. I actually have decided how he killed them
Oh.
and why.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't just kill people for no reason.
That's
He only kills them if he makes them mad.
Gosh. Can make money off of it.
Is this death profitable?
Uh-huh. Hey, speaking of which, you want to give us the daily news for Loxodol today? Do you have a news update for us?
I think I could have sworn I was I typed one. Oh geez, no. Oh yeah, there was. Oh. There was one yesterday, but it's past midnight, so it was at 3 p.m. yesterday, but it's kind of today because I haven't gone to sleep yet, and that's how that works.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is loosely Mondays in the monastery. It turns into Tuesdays in the monastery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've spent more time Tuesdays
On
in the
Tuesday.
monastery than Wednesdays.
For
Mondays.
For you, for sure, because I know you're a different time zone than.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Whatever we did, I'm sure it was very nice. So today, today there was a flash mob in a Loxodolian shopping center, masterminded by an online social media user, and caused the hospitalization of 6 people after they dumped buckets of lice into a crowd.
Okay.
Yeah, money, and clout. Clout's a hell of a drug. I've heard so many people say that, and I can do nothing but agree, because it's true. These people, they thought that it would be good for clicks, and they dumped lice into a major shopping center.
Do you make these up? Like, where do these come from? Like, I feel like.
Well,
these updates, I'm like, is this a real place?
No, this is not a real place, but God, it would be hilarious if it was.
It's brilliant. I like the mystery of that because I don't understand all the stuff that you bring in, which it makes it so much more fun. Like news update, and it's like what? Like it sounds.
News update:
so...
terrorists attack with lice.
Like
it's not like genetically modified lice in any way. It's just literally lice.
There you go. There's our weekly update or our daily update of Loxodol. Come to Loxodol.
It wasn't. There were two more parts to it.
Oh, keep going.
Yeah, following this tragedy, online ID systems were put into effect so the government can identify and arrest and/or fine conspiring troublemakers before events like this can occur. And as an unintended result, adult magazine sales have boomed following this, causing the entirety of the book publishing industry to increase by 25%, which shows you how tiny the book publishing industry is in toxic.
That's interesting.
Not common at all. What's the slogan of Loxodol? Like, if they had a slogan.
They do have a slogan. It's a problem, throw money at it. That's their motto. If there's ever a problem, you just throw money at it until it goes away, and everybody follows that unsigned rule.
Mm-hmm.
Are they wrong? To some people, yes. Are they wrong to them? No.
So yes, come to our Discord, and you too can go to Loxodol and experience the.
Don't forget to get your mandatory tracking chip.
Oh yeah, that great mandatory chip.
The mandatory tracking chip.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you just love it?
I did. I was proud of myself and how I handled it. I won't spoil it to people if somebody listens to this, but I thought what I did was smart.
Mortem was not happy.
No.
Oh, Mortem, you forget that whenever you go to Loxodol, you have to throw away your thought of human rights.
Yeah, no. Just can't do that.
You see, human rights aren't profitable. So we ignore them.
They're not profitable. That's right. Saranth, ever the consumer or capital. What is the word? You're just
capitalist.
Capitalist, yes. You're brilliant. Ugh.
My brilliant Loxodolian mind.
Mm-hmm. So we need to talk about two things for sure this week. I want to talk about the slumber party. I want to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the wedding and leading up to the wedding, the as I'm calling it, the bachelor and bachelorette parties that were near-death experiences.
Yeah.
So.
What is this? The gender reveal party?
No.
You didn't light anything on fire.
Ah, darn.
Not this time.
Not this time.
It might happen in the future. Who knows?
So, the slumber party we had, I pinged people in the server. I decided to send it on an idea that I had and invite people to watch Dungeons and Dragons, which is Lord of the Rings, and was 100% that movie, the first one. And so people came and showed up, and Elena's voice cast sending to a bunch of different people hey, you should come to this manor and come see this, and meet me there. And you guys showed up. Zaranth showed up fashionably late.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody was there to notice. Oh, woe is me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Winston noticed, but he wasn't looking. Yeah,
He didn't care enough.
Winston didn't care enough to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Winston and Saranth are going to get into some big ass fight in the future.
Oh yeah,
I can see it.
definitely at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not going to end well.
No.
Mm-mm.
Probably going to end with someone dead and someone wishing they were dead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of that's already true for Winston. So Winston already wishes he was dead, but that's a story for another day.
Mm-hmm. Oh man.
I want
So
to ask why, but I'm not sure. I want to ask why, but at the same time-
You'll find out. You might find out later. Depends on if you ask Winston enough questions, or if you ask the right people the right questions.
or if you piss him off enough to make him tell you.
Maybe.
Anyways,
what's fun in our server is you can see what's going on in all of the little chats at the same time. And our big bad evil guy or whatever, he was our conflict. He wouldn't say that he's evil, but like in the other server we had Gorm doing stuff, or at least the guy that played him, doing different things in different chats at the same time. And so I did that a little bit in the slumber party, where I had Elena with a black mask at the manor watching the movie and asking Winston, "Where's Mortem?" And then Mortem's in the monastery chat and he's getting ready. And I'm like, "Go ahead and make a perception check." And you got a nat 1.
Yeah.
And you were like, "I'm going out in the hallway."
blind. I'm always there to make fun of them for things.
Mm-hmm. So you go out in the hallway, because I also had in the chat the Elena plane shifted back to the monastery, which, like, if anyone's watching it, it'd be like, well, that's weird. And we've had time paradoxes happen where it's like, okay, this takes place like before or after. Like there's a little, space, because that happens sometimes. Like a 5-minute conversation in game versus like an 8-hour train ride or something somewhere else. That's just
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For the record, the monorail ride wasn't 2 days long. It was just.
So
I was dying.
It wasn't 2 days long.
Well,
I just didn't have the time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That specific day was when like Mortem was dying and I was dying inside, because I was like, I just need to get to a safe place because I can't leave the group. Like I can't plane shift and plane shift back. Like there's no way I can get back. But it worked out. And that's what happens too, is like, this is supposed to be a post by post. So it's whenever people have convenient times. And that's just when the story happens. And that's fine. So we have Elena all of a sudden now in the monastery that Mortem runs into, and she has her white mask on. And Mortem's like, "Weren't you gonna meet me at the manor?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And then Mortem and Winston start like making some type of connection, and they're like, "Who's this Elena in the manor? This is not Elena."
It's a different Elena.
Yeah. What we came to find out later, the dark Elena, to make that connection. Not necessarily evil from what we've seen yet, but definitely has a darker tone.
She's done nothing wrong. So there's been that little mystery, and that's the other thing too, is with these post by posts we can add in like our own little mysteries of things, because that's kind of how it started with conflict in the other channels that we had, where we had Gorm come in and was doing stuff, and then our characters reacted to it, and then it like brought us closer together because there was a mystery, just like a normal RPG game. Yeah, well, that's all my thoughts on that. I just wanted to bring that up. But if anyone had thoughts on that, they can comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, just interested to see what happens with that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's get to the The Mortem Lena explosion of running through 2 different chats at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Which
Yeah.
Was this after Strength told them that they he generates power for free and charges people for it?
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, but
And
they
no.
also
Yeah.
had a conversation in private before that, and
Okay.
Mortem, after hearing that, was just like, okay, I need to go fly, run, do something to get this out because yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So we a little behind the scenes here. They were having a conversation in the monastery, and I suddenly felt like I needed Elena to go run. Like Elena runs when she's mad, like, or needs to get energy out. And so all of a sudden I'm just like, I'm just gonna start typing this in the other server. And so Elena like leaves the monastery like at high speeds, runs through the end, like shunts open the door and like keeps running, and she's screaming. And then I look into the chat that Mortem and Elena were having, and Mortem brings up like, why are we waiting to get married? And I was like, that's why she's running, because she doesn't know why they're waiting. And so I had her leave and run, and that lined up with Elena and Zrant's conversation, because sometimes there's that overlap. And so I finished. We were recording that day too, so we were recording that day, which is why I had her leave, and then I wanted her to come back so she could actually comment on your huge like lore dump in a way of Loxodal's energy, which is insane, and I took it
Yeah,
totally out of context.
This large up of Loxodalian energy production.
It's like, it's like you're like, you didn't listen to a word I just said, and I was like, I may have overreacted or something like that. It was like, I don't remember.
It feels so good that I was able to do a lore dump on fucking power generation.
Yeah. And then Mortem being like, is this the thing? And it's like, stop talking about the thing, Mortem. Like, okay.
I want to know what the thing is. Like, really want to know what
The
thing in
The
Loxodal is.
Who
thing.
knows what it is? It's just called the thing. There was a thing that happened, and Saranth's
No,
just like, stop talking
the
about it.
thing is a definite thing that exists, and you will not know what it is until you do.
Okay.
I will tell you right now with certainty that the thing is not just something that's, pathetic and like a gift box that has the word "the thing" written on it.
The box.
That would be funny.
It's the box.
The box. I totally forgot about the other box with the slumber party. I was like, she pulls out a box. It's not the box. Oh god.
It's just a box.
Poor.
It's just a regular old. You're overthinking it. It's
Yeah.
just a box.
It's just a cube. It's magical. Don't touch the box. Like Winston. I was like, oh my god.
It's literally just a box.
I was like, just freaking open it. There's a thing inside. This wasn't supposed to last this long. Like
You don't touch things from strangers. They could
true.
be cursed items.
It's true, and I'm so proud of you. And that he did that. I was like, yeah, good job, Winston. But also like, gosh, it was good. The counter spells. Like, I see you have questions. She just like looks at him like, can I go now?
Now you can go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Mortem goes on this journey, running. Elena is running, and then she grabs her, what is a solar surfer in Treasure Planet, basically. Grabs that and enchants it so it flies, so she's flying. What was your whole, I guess, inspiration to have him fight his demons? Because that was really cool to see that he was trying to control that side of him, I guess, in a way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
go into that. I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, part. So he's been trying to control some of his emotions and demons for a long time, and in order for him to like really understand and go forward, it just kind of came up, and it just kind of came out in text that way. I didn't necessarily plan for him to fight his demons at that point, but he was like, it was hard for him, like thinking of like, yeah, it's like we should wait. Why? It's like he was struggling with the question himself of like, why are we waiting to get married? I don't know. And then as he was swimming down in a different monastery that he was a part of at one point in time, something happened to Elena, and then all of a sudden he just turned around and started swimming upwards because he didn't have his cloak to fly with, and he couldn't change into it because he was underwater. And then once he got up and started, he was just like starting to just question quite a few things, not quite everything, but question a few things, because it felt like he was waiting way too long. He felt like he was waiting way too long, and that he deserved what he waited so long for, which then that led to him fighting his demons of wanting to do these things, but knowing that he should wait and try to not control them, but figure out how to work with
them. Yeah, so like a little like more, I guess, behind the scenes is like we've been holding off on them getting married for a while. Like it was even like discussed, we're just gonna do it way later because as soon as they get married, they're gonna go to the Feywild, and then like I imagine that as when Elena will stop being a mage and a fighter, like that her whole background is just gonna like I'm gonna like clear her character sheet in a way. Like that was my thought, was that she's gonna do this huge transformation. And like we even talked that day because we were recording some audio, and we're like, so when are we gonna have them get married? And I was like, well, they could get married now. And it's like, well, we can talk about that later. And I was like, okay. And then you had Mortem ask her, and it was like, frick.
Yeah,
And
it was like he was thinking about it, and it's like I was thinking about it. It's like there's not really a good reason for them to wait. It's like even if they were to go to the Feywild and have their time together for basically their lifetime together, doing that, I mean, they can save that for later. Plus, it's also like kind of the thing of the monastery is like, why wait? Go do the thing that you want to go do now, since you can.
Yeah, so I had Elena freaking out, and we didn't plan this wedding at all. Like there was at zero, like, and that's what's so cool about this is we just play by what, the improv, like what feels right at this moment. And so I had Elena like running and flying, and I was like, okay, she's gonna fly up, and she's like suppressing all of these emotions because she's trying not to feel. And then I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna have her level up in something and level down. So then I was just like, all right, she's like, her soul starts to change, and I was like, here we go. And so I pulled up her character sheet and I leveled her down as a mage, and I was like, okay, what class am I doing this in? Like, am I doing it a warlock or paladin? Like what, like there was a lot of thoughts, like barbarian, like what is this going to work out as? And there's been a lot of build up for her to take the Pact of the Tome, Winston's whole thing with her in the spell
Winston
book
has been like very much pushing that direction.
Yes. And you've even brought that up forever ago, and I haven't forgotten.
I did.
I never forgot it, ever. I never ever forgot. Because but she goes ahead and she goes through this whole thing where like her soul's in front of her. She's trying to reach it, and it's changing between the 4 different packs that you can take. The chain, the talisman, the
Chain,
blade.
talisman, tome, and
Yeah.
blade.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
And there were some crucial dice rolls. I'm gonna share these. So I wasn't sure which one I wanted her to go in. So I made a roll, and it was a D4, and it landed on the 4, and so it was the tome, and I was like, yes. Because I was like, oh, she could have the talisman or the tome. Both of them made sense. So I go ahead and like select that, and then I'm looking at the invocations that you can take, and I'm like, oh my gosh, mage armor at will, frick yeah, like this is so good.
Yeah.
And then the other one, the aspect of the moon, where she doesn't have to sleep, and I was like, this is great. She's never gonna have to sleep anymore, you know. So I took that for her. 100% took it for her. She then saw her mother, which I rolled to see who she would see. I didn't know who she was going to see. It just felt right to have someone talking to her. And so this was the coolest dice roll. So I typed out a 1d4, and then I typed M for mother, F for father, B for brother, and then S for someone. Like I could choose it later. And I was like, it's going to be her mom. It's 100% going to be her mom. And I rolled it, and I knew it was going to be her mom, and it was her mom. Like, it was just there. And I was like, yes. And had that whole thing, that conversation with her mom, being like, everything's in front of you. Like, if you, like, I love this quote, if you keep playing what if your whole life, you're never going to live it.
Yeah.
And
It's true.
she had to like let go of what she thought she was supposed to be. And yeah, she's not as powerful as a mage anymore, but holy frick, like I'm excited to see what she does as a warlock now.
Mhm.
Strength can't exploit her as effectively anymore.
Not the same, no. Mm-mm. Not the same. Which then that led into the wedding.
Yep.
The
The
improvised.
surprise wedding
Yep.
that we totally called would happen, that they would elope like a month or two before.
Mm-hmm. I always envisioned them eloping. It wasn't until like Drixie was just like, I'm gonna be your flower girl. I was like, oh, please no. Like, Elena's very private.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I don't think they would have ever gotten married in the end.
Nah. I mean, I'm really glad they didn't. I'll just say it like that. I'm glad they
Say
didn't.
again?
I'm really glad they didn't get married in the end.
Yeah.
Like everything that we did, we put in there the next day. But it was 100% like an elopement. Even though it's like, oh, these 2 characters witnessed it, and it's like, well, yes, but we let you witness it. I don't know what the canon is on that, because it wasn't happening at the moment. So
I will say, can't. From my perspective, I would say canon probably not.
yeah, like it could just be an illusion, so that it was just shared.
Yeah, because I feel like it might be a little bit better for them to just have that kind of private marriage, and then when they feel like they can, or when people notice the rings, or it gets brought up in conversation,
Mm-hmm.
then they'll talk about it. So that's kind of how their whole relationship has been the entire time. Of we're not going to talk about it unless someone else brings it up.
Yeah.
Imagine how awkward that would be. Like, Drixie says, "Oh, how have you been doing? Why do you have an extra ring?" And then you say, "Oh yeah, we've been married for like 2 months." I feel like that's gonna be. I feel like that's gonna be such a painful slap in the face for the person who
Flower
plays
child.
him.
Yeah. I want to be your
Like
flower
all
girl.
this stuff is happening without me.
Oh, that. Oh, yeah. So, like, the other character, right, wanted to be there and then was messaging out of character, like, I just want to be able to do stuff. And I'm like, this already happened. Like, you're welcome to read this. That's what I'm doing here. And that's kind of like how we play, is we play where if there are little story arcs that we want to do, that's like, not everyone can be there, but we want you to see it because we want to share it. That's fine. You know, like Saranth fighting Elena, right? Maybe not everybody was present to see it to stop him from hurting her at the end there, right? But everyone could like be a part of it because they've read it.
Right.
Like it doesn't have to be everybody has to be there all the time. Like that'll just get so like too much, right? Like
Right.
it's not realistic. Like real life happens.
Yeah. It's kind of unrealistic. Plus, we don't want someone to like baby rage about how their character would have stopped it, and
Yeah.
then they say, "Oh no, don't fight!" like a week after,
Yeah.
and then we have to like retcon the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, like this is in a way like we're living out what we want, what story we want. If we want people to be there for certain stuff, like whenever we enter initiative, right? We understand that those people have lives, and so they're gonna respond when it's their turn, and that's fine, you know?
Yeah.
Um, which I remember the first several times that we had initiative with Gorm and everything. Oh man, those days, there was like a whole Saturday that I was just like glued to my phone waiting for him to like respond and like waiting for my turn, and I was like, oh, I
It
can't
was
miss
so
this. Like
tense. I know.
It was the beginning because we didn't know each other. We didn't know what we
Yeah.
would do in conflict. Like we'd never played together, so there wasn't even that trust of like I trust them to allow me to have my turn and to wait, you know.
Yeah. When I say, "Oh no, all this stuff happened without us," I'm more concerned about they're not even there to see it. Like for those who don't know, we all came from a different server in a different play by post area called the Red Dragon Inn. But circumstances happened and we ended up moving without some of the people there. And then when we finally go back with all of this like lore developed, like, Sarant's hometown, or not hometown, like home continent,
Mm-hmm.
Like that would
Mortem
not
and
go
Elena's
well.
marital status,
Yeah.
Elena's level, like all these really big things, and then they weren't there for any of it.
Yep. Plus,
Like,
things we'll find out about Winston later.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Because even though he's not on screen a lot, he is doing things.
Yep. And Zaranth too. I appreciate that you guys have brought that in, that life keeps going. Like we play this game, but we go by like the real clock in real life. We go by that
Yeah.
there are days and there are minutes that are actually occurring. And so, if Winston is not on screen or whatever for 4 hours, he is doing something somewhere for 4 hours in real life, like real time.
Yeah.
And we rarely do time jumps anymore. Like we've done them every now and then, but
Yeah, none of them have been like super big.
Yeah, like for Elena's short rest, it was, it was we did a time jump for that because there's no point waiting 10 minutes.
No. And I think it was even 10 minutes really in real life, like, because it takes like 3 minutes to type a text, right? Like, so yeah, like we've done some time jumps where it's like, okay, we understand that we've been on this train ride for like 3 days and we're gonna go ahead and have a long rest, like finally. Those ones were probably the only times that it was really, I had to really take count of like, okay, time just keeps going, but um, yeah, so Elena's changed levels 7 times. She's had 7 different Elenas, I guess, in the inn since being there. So her current status is she's a fighter 3, divination wizard 11, warlock 3, monk 3.
Wow, I didn't know that you were that far in any of them. I thought you were like, wizard 14 or like wizard, like a lot of wizard.
Yeah, it just changed.
Yep.
Like I thought you were, like I think your initial status when you like was transformed after Maloney was wizard. It was like wizard 18, fighter 2.
So I wrote them down. So I entered the inn as a fighter 3 and divination wizard, either between 11 and 13, and then I became Elena, aka joined a cult, is what I have here.
No,
It's not a cult.
It's not a cult. Just became a warlock, level 1 warlock. Then she read the old path, and that required her to have access to level 9 spells. So I leveled her up all the way to a level 17 wizard and then fighter 2. So I changed that. I went down in fighter. And then she's been let's see, she opened up her key in Thrain. So she went down again in wizard and then 2 in monk. And then she killed Winston. So she leveled up in fighter, down in wizard. She killed again, but more mercifully, and then she leveled up to become a mercy monk, down again in wizard, and then this, right before the wedding, she gave up part of her soul again to become a warlock 3.
Again?
And then down in divination wizard. Yeah. So yep, she gave up more of her soul in order to be ready.
I'm not going to go into specifics about that yet because that'll be discussed when we start releasing stuff.
Yeah. No, you're.
Damn it, Strength could have that soul.
Ha!
Toxidol could have that part of the soul.
I just wanted to share it. You guys never have to share anything you don't want to. But I was like, I know people are. It's been out there before about like her changing and.
I have okay. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
But I have adjusted Winston's character sheet so many times because I cannot pin down exactly how many levels he has. Since he is. There is like so much homebrew in what he can do because of all the things that he has done and continues to do those, as well as some new things that he's gained because he has been experimenting.
Oh, for sure. We do play though like level 20 characters pretty much.
Yeah,
or more.
you don't have to play a level 20 character. We just do because it makes sense for us to. I mean, Strength was originally level, what was it? I think 7.
You were low, and then all of a sudden you realized that we were all way more powerful, and you were like,
we were all way, and he had no right to be as arrogant and assholey as he was. Like he's gonna pick a fight and then immediately get curb stomped because he has like what 70 hit points.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yep.
So he pretty much had to become level 20 in order to justify his,
It makes
Mortem
sense.
started out at 10, and then I quickly realized, like based on everything that was happening, I was like, okay, you probably need to get up fairly high, fairly quickly, so that way you can actually be a leader of a monastery.
Mhm.
Yeah,
and
there
the
were like
roles that they
loads of
need
god
to do.
characters, and then it,
Oh my gosh, so many gods. We started a list.
So,
There were like 14.
yeah,
I think it's up to 14 is how many Elena's met. Like,
I'd believe that.
it's a lot.
Here, I'd believe 14.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not a bad thing by any chance, but it's just ironic.
It's bad for her because she hates the gods. That's the thing. So anytime a
Oh yeah,
god comes
Serenity.
in, she just, and I love that too, that Sarant hates them too. Just rolls her eyes like, oh, another god, like there's only one cool god in her eyes. It's her best
And it's
one.
Tiamat.
Wow. That's for Sarant. Yeah, no, Dante. Dante is the only chill god that she can actually get behind. There's a lot of lore that we can incorporate into these games just because it's so unique. Like it's literally an RPG game on steroids. It's everything that you want with other people's lore that they bring in. Like your imagination is the limit. You can do anything in a way,
Yeah, it's just an amalgamation of whatever lore we could duct tape together.
Yeah,
And it works.
it does.
and create new stuff as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just wonder what's gonna happen when like somebody's gonna come in and they're gonna say, I've killed Tiamat, and then Seren's gonna be like, wait a minute. That's not how that works.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing I put in this server is that any lore background that you want can work for your character because I put it in there. The manor at least is on a ley line, which allows parallel universes and stuff to go down. And I wanted to do that because I was worried about some of my backstory being like I'm protective of it. And I don't want to feel like I'm stopping someone else's creativity by saying, sorry, you're from Barovia? No, because I own Barovia.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do that to someone. So,
Yeah.
and Sarant's got tons of stuff with Tiamat and things. And so I was like, we'll just make it the rule that it can, there are parallel universes, there are anything that you want in your backstory, you can do it.
Yeah.
And it'll tie
one of the
in.
reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why I have the monastery in the astral sea rather than on a specific planet or anything like that, because who knows what portal might open up and then things come through out in the astral sea. So, plus I do have some reasons why they've been across dimensions, but I won't get into those reasons.
Yeah. So, yeah, that just comes down to, I think, just wanting we want to make sure that people feel invited and welcomed and that their ideas are important too. It's not just us making this story. Like, we can write a good story, but having other people makes it so much better. Like,
I know. Like we can only do so much with ourselves. Like
yes.
I already feel like that the stories that we have right now could be made a lot better if more people were there.
Yeah.
Which is why we're promoting this, and we've started this YouTube and we have a Twitter and
yeah, I'm still mad about that poaching rule. Like I've talked.
Oh.
I don't think here's the best place to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it here anyways because I feel like it's going to be a nice talking point.
Maybe if it's not a good idea to talk about it here, then let's not talk about it here, and we could talk about it later.
Yeah, I suppose. What else is there to talk about, though? Any ideas?
Cool. The freaking wedding. The freaking wedding happened. It was so good.
What did you say?
The wedding. The wedding went down.
A wedding, yes.
The wedding went down. I did have a moment where I was like, should we invite Winston and Zaranth? I was worried. I didn't want you guys to feel left out because that was going to happen. You guys were going to see it in the server. And, you know, Mortem and I made that decision of like, nope, we're just going to elope it. And it worked out because then it was hours long of like
Yeah.
this really long thing, which if Saranth, if you were there, maybe you would have been like, hurry up. like you never would say that, of course, but you know, it would be this long thing.
Mhm.
So it worked out great. It was beautiful. Well done, Mortem, for coming up on the spot with suddenly being an expert in weddings.
Yeah. Just yep. I had no time to research what weddings do because I've only actually been to one wedding in real life. So
Yeah, you messaged me after you started the wedding, and you're like, I totally forgot how weddings work.
true.
I've never been to a wedding.
Ever?
I've been to wedding parties, but not actual weddings.
Weddings. I'll just say this: I was invited to my friend's wedding this year, and he is the DM that changed like my life to introduce me to Critical Role and actually get me into these games. And there was a time zone difference, so in true D&D fashion, I showed up an hour late to the wedding, and I missed the whole wedding. But was there for the party afterwards and was like, hey, this is just like a real session where we don't show up on time. And he's like, it's totally fine. I'm so glad you're here. Like, it worked out. It was good. So, and then we had two other of our party members that they didn't even show up. They RSVP'd and they didn't show up. So it was like, yeah, this is exactly who we are in real life. So you're good. But anyway, you became an expert in vows and exchanging of rings and and then the gifts. Okay.
Wait, yeah.
Go
It's
ahead.
like I'll just say mine real quick
Yeah.
because I know you're going to talk about yours for a little bit. Mortem is working on his. He'll probably present them later at some point. I'll probably work on it. I'll actually work on it tomorrow because what you gave him was really good, and he will repay that and more later. So. Yeah, because it was just so spontaneous. It's like I was trying to think of something like before this happened. I thought we were gonna maybe wait a little bit longer, but then the energy in the moment was just like, no, we're just gonna get married now. And then it was just like, okay, well now I have to go and get something or make some work on stuff.
Yeah, I only had the one idea at first was, and I thought of it a while ago, back when they got bit by the were-tiger, or she got bit by the were-tiger. She was actually she was near the house that she had just bought, and she was making sure the area was safe and was taking care of the area to make sure that it was a place they could stay. And so then that happened. So that was like her only gift. And then I was like, oh, you know, she's a warlock and she's taking these invocations, which was super cool. So I wanted to surprise him and be like, look what I can do now. And so she was like, oh, I can cast mage armor whenever. So I'm going to have white hair forever, which was completely unplanned as far as the vision that she's had of like the end, which she cast a spell and it was like, this is how your story could end. And she has white hair, which I just randomly wrote that. I was like, she has white hair. I don't know why. We'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
You know? So I was like, oh my gosh, this is why. And then as soon as I sent that, I was thinking about the next part. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know who could really use this invocation is Mortem. And I was like, well, maybe she can use like alchemy to give it to him every now and then. Like they could take turns not needing to sleep. Because aspect of the moon allows you to not need to sleep. And I was like, no, you know what? She's just gonna give it to him. He's just gonna have it. And she's gonna transfer it and I don't care if I need to BS this. Like, we started rolling so many d20s trying to get a nat 20 so
Yeah.
that she could transfer it, and then we finally got her to transfer it, and so she did. She transferred that invocation to Mortem.
Hmm.
So she doesn't have it anymore. She doesn't. She has to sleep, but Mortem does not need to sleep ever again.
Woohoo.
Well, yeah, and the reason why Mortem was like starting to cry at that point is because he has PTSD and will literally have nightmares where he will get up and then be destructive because of things that he's done in his past. So that that is a gift that he doesn't think he can repay, but he's going to try anyway.
That was those all improv, just like Mortem needs this. And it was like just that morning, I think you had messaged as well, like you were wondering, like you said something of like when will your nightmares ever end or something, like you wanted to control them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, aha, never have to dream again.
Yeah. Now I'm just thinking about what Mortem's going to work on, but yeah.
I can't stop thinking about what would happen if Toxidol got that.
If you never had to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to do, it does say like light activity, but yes, there is definitely a benefit to not needing to sleep, which...
No, he would hate it.
Really?
Yeah, lore reasons.
Oh.
You're gonna have to figure out why.
Oh gosh. There's so much with Tox we haven't even unraveled.
Yeah, there's a lot about Toxidol. You could go. I have so much written out about him, and you just need to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. This is why we need more people, though. Like we need.
Yeah, we need more people.
Yeah,
we need
more people. So have someone else discover what Toxidol is.
Yeah.
Besides
like,
us.
In a way, yeah, because I felt so stretched since the beginning to have Elena figure out everybody's mysteries, because I'm like, I want to figure out all these mysteries, which is why I went into the whole dry background and the Resh thing, and then I got sucked in.
Yep.
Like the only times he ever messaged me was like, hey, can I give Elena a nightmare? And I'm like, sure. Like there wasn't that, hey, can I like threaten you? Like I want to kill your character. There was never any of that ever. Like so it was like, okay. Which is why
Yeah. I feel like the inn is just really soft. I really like I like it when there's, conflict and there's like a reason for you to like do things. Like I talked to my DM in another campaign to see if like he could make a conflictless story, and he seemed really like I didn't think he was confident that he could do it, but
Aww. But conflict makes
define conflict.
Exactly.
That's the point where,
like,
at least for me, where you could maybe make a story out of that, because even like to take it to like a slice of life anime kind of thing, like even then there's a little bit of conflict there, but just not having conflict for a certain amount of time, it just gets boring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so many times I've looked in the other server when we're doing stuff and it's like, oh, we're having so much fun doing whatever, like fluffy, happy place. Meanwhile, like what was that recently happened? It was like, I want to say it was, what was it? Something major happened. It might have been when Winston died. There was stuff that went down. I don't know. Where, like you just look over at these other stories that are going on at the same time. Which is a unique perspective that we have, just being in two different servers that do these things, so we can see characters that we've met do these happy moments where it's like, this is boring after a while. Like, I don't care about making snow angels for 5 days, right? Like, I want to actually use my powers, which are,
Yeah, because
yeah,
Kill some.
kill somebody.
yeah,
Oh, maybe that was
yeah,
it.
other
Winston and Elena were doing an adventure, uh, killing some people. Yeah, Elena killed people, and she was going through this huge like down right afterwards.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like she felt super guilty about it, right?
Yes.
yeah, because Mortem had to comfort her with her being in shell shock
Hmm.
for a little bit.
Yeah, she was just covered in blood, and she was just laying on her bed, like looking straight up, and was just like, "What did I just do?" Like,
Mhm.
how am I supposed to feel? And like she was cut off from emotion, which I didn't realize this until today, that they were in an anti-magic zone, which may have explained a little bit without me knowing that, like, why she was so emotionless is because she cast spells with her
Ah,
emotions.
right.
Yeah, so it was like she was an anti-magic zone, so all of a sudden she became this like totally different person, where it was
Mhm.
there was no mercy, there was no wrath, there was just kill and be done with it and get out of
Mhm.
there, like, get the job done, leave, think about it later, kind of mindset.
Yeah, which isn't who Elena is, which is a little bit, like a tiny bit of who Winston is.
Hmm.
Is when he comes to missions, he gets in, gets the job done, gets out, doesn't necessarily think about all the consequences at the time.
Hmm.
Even though the monastery is based on mercy, there's a phrase that has been used by a popular DM at one point um, that is called "The Time is Mercy for Past," and that's kind of Winston's perspective when he goes on that is time's up. If I'm getting called in, you've had a chance to make things right, so I'm not going to deal with your pleas.
Hmm. Yeah, I appreciated that you had her have to say a phrase when they killed somebody,
Hmm.
which I thought was just brilliant. Like, as far as the flavor of like a mercy monk goes, is like, we're killing people, we're saying a phrase so that we remember, like, we're doing this out of mercy. We're not,
Yeah,
turning
yeah,
into the dark side.
yeah. It's still bringing that humanity
Yeah.
into it a little bit, even though what you're doing is still a lot of killing.
Yes. Yes. So for Elena, which was really fun to do, was come up with a phrase of what she would say when she kills somebody, which was, "The clock must end at this time of death. Forgive me, brother, and take your last breath." And she said that a bunch on that trip.
Hmm.
And it wasn't like, there were several different times where she said it where she didn't mean it, you know, as
Yeah.
much until like a certain line, or she just didn't mean it at all. And Winston's just like, "You have to mean it," which was really cool to see that side of, you know, the
Hmm.
monastery and what they believe, and like, you have to mean it.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's one of several things that separates them from other adventurers
Hmm.
is they literally think about things like that. Because even if you were to look at like Tasha's, where the Mercy Monk is, it's not focused on damage; it's focused on healing, because their 17th level ability is a resurrection ability.
Hmm.
So, and the healing for them is so much better, anyways.
Right.
Anyway,
So,
yes, we digress, but yes, we enjoy conflict.
yeah.
We enjoy enjoy making circumstances, whether they're random encounter circumstances or they're just, you know, Winston and Sarantha are all of a sudden having an argument, and they both know that they could just kill each other if they really wanted to, you know.
Mhm.
A bold assumption that he could kill Sarantha.
I was
Not
going to say the
permanently.
same thing about Winston.
Try to.
He,
Yeah. Oh, like when Elena killed Winston. That was there was a lot of build up to that. There was a lot of, and we need to release that. That was cool. We need to write that in like a open area. But
Yeah.
that was insane because Elena, this was right after Elena's simulacrum. How do you pronounce that word?
Simulacrum.
Simulacrum.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Simulacrum blew up. And so she showed up so that she could pretend to be injured. And then Winston's like, let's go to my room, we're gonna fix it. And Drixie's like, oh no, like, are you sure? Can you heal arms? You know, like, yeah, Winston's got it. Just, you know, it's fine. Just
As Winston, the embodiment of death.
Yeah.
So they were talking about, and they were fixing her other simulacrum, and they were talking, and Elena was trying to apologize to Winston. Is how it started. It started as an apology, and then it turned into so much worse.
Yeah. Because Winston is a dick and he knows it.
And oh man, Elena was pissed because she wants to be like Winston. Sometimes, a lot of times. Like, Elena has to be perfect. Elena can't say the wrong thing or be a jerk to people. Like, you know, like, Sarantha can be a jerk, no problem. Winston can be a jerk, no problem. Elena is a jerk, like, everyone would be like, oh my gosh, how could you? You know, like.
I would say Mortem can't really be a jerk either. It's like he is. It's like not that he would be necessary. He can be at times if he goes down that route, but it's not. It's something he actively chooses not to do.
Yep. Yep. So there was anger, there was jealousy, there was like, I remember being like, I just want to kill you, Winston, because I hate you. And then Winston just pushes her over the edge, you know, like,
Do it.
yeah, with a very powerful word before it. And I was like, I'm killing Winston. And then I did. And I was surprised that how relieved I felt by killing Winston. Like, I felt so good. Like, in real life, I was like, I did it. I did it. I beat him. I was expecting to feel bad. Nope. There was no regret, like, in that moment. Yeah, we've got a lot of content. Oh, we need to get it out there.
Yeah.
We've got.
It's so surreal being like just a part of this. Like I've always seen people on podcasts, and I'm just like, yeah, they're there, they exist, and I never really thought that I would be one of them.
Yeah, like look at us. We're on podcasts. We're recording. We're gonna be voice actors for our own story, which is unique. To actually say things the way that we want them said.
Yeah.
From us.
Yeah.
Like. Plus, it could help practice voice acting.
True. Even that, like being our own voice of our own characters, is something so rare that not many people do that. It's like the only other example I can think of that it would be that is Critical Role with their work on the Legends of Vox Machina.
True.
But even then, for them, that's been like so recent.
Yeah, like a lot of this has definitely been put together random thoughts, like one little step at a time, where all of us kind of were just like, like, what should we do? Because there was a night where I broke down and talked to you guys, and it turned into, well, what are you excited about in life? Like, what do you look forward to? Because I suffer with depression, and that was a really bad night, and that was like, I don't even like have motivation to do anything, and feeling so numb. And it was just like this accumulative, we just started talking like, okay, what if we like this story, like what could we do, like what's a goal that we could do, like what's the steps to get there. And every day it just keeps getting like more and more. Like it wasn't until I think like yesterday that we changed the name of our server even and like figured out what we could call this whole thing. Because Mondays in the Monastery is just the podcast, but it's not the story. Yeah. So we don't know what we're doing, but we're working on it.
I see. Sorry. Just to go off real quick, I did go back and see what Winston said right before Elena killed him, and yep,
Yeah.
he was aggravating on purpose.
Yep. Yeah, no,
Did he try to swear?
Did he try to what?
Did he try to swear?
Yeah, he did. He got censored because that's what happens with him.
It's like, effing do it. And I was just like,
This is a kids channel.
I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, that's right. Because, I forgot that it would have actually legitly been censored because Winston censored. Beep. Beep. Yeah.
That is something Strength will hold against him. He will just relentlessly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he will. Go ahead.
Oh, there wasn't really much that I wanted to say.
Yeah, Winston hates being censored. But Mortem is the only one who can take it off, and he finds it so hilarious that he's probably never going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Mortem's just used to it at this point, so there's no reason to change it.
Great.
Just say it. It's so easy. Fuck. Sound it out with me.
Sound it out. No, it's good. I like that flavor. That's funny.
Yeah, that was really good.
F Jello. I think it was like one of the first
Oh yeah,
times.
Jello.
It just
Jello.
F Jello.
We came up with a code word for one of the gods that if you say their name, it'll like provoke them to look at you or something. So we're like, Jello. What's something that we all hate? Or what's something that someone hates? And Winston was like, I hate Jello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. I feel like the whole like Ganador like subplot was really good. Like I really like Gravekeeper's input because it creates conflict and conflict creates moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's is it Groundskeeper? I don't remember. One of those. Let me see.
Groundskeeper.
Groundskeeper. Yes, he started out when this whole thing started as just like a character, and then it turned into he wanted to play the bad guy, and he put it in his in his little character bio, he's like, I play the bad guys. So everyone knew that when he would type, right, it was like instantly suspicious. Like, what is he doing here? And
Yeah, people would preemptively type like, "Oh no."
no.
Yep.
Yes. Which was great because then we all kind of understood after a point that he was the bad guy, and that is what brought us all together.
Yeah, I remember what you said about the very first moment you learned to trust Saranth was when he painted the what was it, intellect fortress on his head and said, "Whatever you want to say to me, speak to everyone. I do not wish to be charmed again."
It was actually Liad that was there with the mug and the purple bag of holding that was stuffed into the mug. And
Yep.
he got right up into Elena's face and he like grabbed Elena's cloak as Malloy and was like yelling at her. And you were like, "Have you no shame?" And in that moment, I was like, I trust Samantha. Like, yep, I trust him because he was sticking up for me. Like there was that moment. And there have been a few moments where Elena's stuck up for Zoranth, you know, like there was once
Paladins.
lying to the paladin, not that. There was one moment in the library. There was a guy that was kind of like a jerk to some of our characters, and he didn't like Zoranth's shot that could make him have that short rest in 10 minutes, right? And so
Oh yeah, him. Yeah.
he was saying something and like putting you down, and she got mad. And I remember like you had Zoranth just be like taking it back, you know, like, oh, like Elena's sticking up for him. Like there was that moment, and it was cool to like repay you in a way in that because I've said, you know, like I stick up for my family, and you guys, Mortem, Winston, and Saranth, or at least for like consistent players, are the only ones that she's really made that promise to. Which I'm really glad I haven't made that promise with anybody else. I mean, there's Dante, but I mean, that was also like, I've played with Dante in other campaigns, and so there's that trust. Like, I know this guy isn't gonna just screw over my character.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're family. We are. Look out for each other, and even if we don't disagree, I guess, on everything, like.
Yeah, because I feel like it's Mortem and Zoranth. I feel like probably disagree with stuff the most.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like with Serac, that whole thing before I came in.
Like, oh my god!
you took a deal. You explained it last week, and I want you to explain it again because it was so beautifully.
Well, if there's a hot dog stand and you could buy a hot dog for $1, and there's another hot dog stand that you could buy them for like $1 at $2, but the first hot dog stand is going to disappear in a few minutes. Like you're going to go to the first hot dog stand to get a hot dog for $1, and then you'll go to the other one who's going to be there forever whenever you have the $2 to get to your second hot dog. It just it's the logical progression.
I remember
the fact that you don't understand that is appalling.
It's like I get it, but like you well, like with what Mortem was offering at the time, you could have gone to any hot dog stand you ever wanted or ever could want, or even made your own brand of hot dogs. But you decided to go with the cart that was going to leave in 5 minutes.
Well, maybe that hot dog stand was a better one. It's an unknown.
It is an unknown, but you know, decisions were made.
Decisions were made, and you can't hold them against me.
I think he disagrees. I think he disagrees.
He could, but he's not going to.
What, are you next going to disagree with me for bloody... What is it? Stopping a thief. Killing a thief. Thieves are bad. You agree with that, yes? You're not pro-stealing, are you? You seem like the kind of person who'd be pro-stealing.
Mortem? No. Winston? Maybe.
Definitely from Drow. Matron Mothers.
Oh, yeah. Winston will steal anything from them.
Oh yeah, no. Sranth is pro-stealing, except when it's against him.
Yes.
Or people he likes.
Ah, yes. And he also doesn't like assassins, which I remember forever ago you did explain that. You did explain that. So then when it happened again, and you were like, I hate assassins. Like, you know this. And I was like, you're right. I do know this. You've brought this up. Like, you know. Which is, man. Like, with so much of our story that we have, with so, like, there is so much. Like, I've tried to put some of it in a Word doc, and it's over 300 pages, like different Word docs. Like there's so much, and those are just like 3 days, you know, right? Like there's so many things. I'm just like, we need to stop making content and like get the content out there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the clock doesn't stop. Which that could introduce what we, I don't know, like, what do you guys want to call it? Call it what we do. Because I kind of made the choice. I jumped on that right away when I was like, we can just call it this. But it needs to be like a group decision, right? Like, what do we
I have no idea, honestly.
I think the name that we stuck with, that when you and me were kind of mostly discussing what we should call everything that we're doing, I feel like it does fit very well for what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll spit it out. What is it?
It is Centrum Annorum, which I finally figured out how to say.
You got it right. I think Annorum, Annorum. It's like honest, like on Norum. And
yeah, on Norum.
Whatever. It means 100 years, and we added the R in there on purpose. So, you know, you can suck it, all those Latin people out there, or Greek or whatever it is. You know.
Yeah, all the people who currently speak Latin that are dead because it's a dead language.
It's a dead language. That is it revolves around the monastery and what the monastery believes. The monastery is, I mean, I feel like we should do shout outs to what we base things off of. Because like that's the thing with D&D is any DM that you know has taken ideas of other people's and made it their own. And that's what makes good stories better stories, because you're able to take an idea and make it your own, right? Like, you know, you walk into an inn, but like the inn's on fire, you know, something like that, right? Like you're able to play off of each other, which is what real life ideas are.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, even in what seems like the most original content, it just means that they just have a really obscure reference.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mortem, you want to say what your monastery is based off of, and who or what?
So the monastery itself is based off of Unus Annus, which was a YouTube channel created by Markiplier and Crank Gameplays, or as known on the channel, Ethan and Mark. And they did the YouTube channel for an entire year, and then they deleted everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can only get snippets now of what they did, and you can't buy any merch which a lot of
You
people have.
can't?
You can't go. They shut
What?
down everything.
Wow. I would have
Like they
kept the
killed.
merch going.
Nope. They killed
Sorry.
everything.
It's the
Which, like,
capitalist side
even
of me.
like during the year that they did this, like there were times where you could buy merch towards the beginning that wasn't available later
Mm-hmm.
because it was only available for a certain amount of time, and then more merch, more designs popped up, and then they did that, and then eventually at the very end during their 12-hour live stream, they resurrected all of the merch options to where you could buy anything for that time period,
Oh,
and
that's
then that
cool.
was it. Yeah.
Whoa, that is cool.
Yep. And then as it was getting closer down to the time for them, they started to delete all their other accounts besides the YouTube, which
Mm-hmm.
they left last.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
Yeah.
hearing about this when it was the time, but I never really paid attention.
I didn't know about it at all. So coming into the monastery, I didn't know at all what you were doing, Mortem, which I was like, this is so cool. And then I looked up some stuff because you had dropped hints to things, and I like looked this up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is totally like a thing. Like
Yeah.
this was a thing, and I'm experiencing it, which is what again RPG games are. You can experience things that other people know and are experts on. I guess you could say experts on that
Mhm.
you wouldn't experience without them giving you that experience.
Yeah.
So
Which is
you,
why
yeah, go ahead.
the reason the monastery has so many weird rooms, and it is more like a school rather than a well, I mean, it is a monastery
Yeah.
still, but it's more like a school rather than anything else, because you can just anything you can learn just about anything in there,
Mm-hmm.
because one, they have a freaking massive library,
Mm-hmm.
uh, as well as so many other different rooms. Like there's the blacksmith room, there's Hell's Kitchen. um,
Oh, Fiend's Kitchen, I think, is what you change it to. I
uh,
don't remember.
I've changed the names a few times. There's a room that was based off a video that they did called "The Good Kind of Cupping." Um, there was, yeah,
Their
there's a
massage
paintball.
room with rocks and
Yep.
cups. Which I was like, what is that? When I first saw you type that, I was like, um, what is this monastery?
Yeah, it's not that kind of
N-
cupping. It's the
Nut,
good kind of cupping.
nut ballroom, which we've
Yep.
still never entered.
Nobody
I,
is entered, and I'm waiting.
I've
I have
tried.
it planned out.
I dimension doored into there and it didn't work.
Mhm.
I got hurt from that.
I mean, you're more than welcome to go and try and bust down the door.
My little -1 strength.
Mhm.
Uh, so we wanted to name our YouTube everything based off of this monastery. We don't want it to be exactly the same as Unus Annus. That's the thing.
No, it's a tribute, kind of. It's a
Kind
tribute and
of
heavily inspired by Unus Annus.
heavily. We're not going to delete anything ever, other than maybe our character sheets once it gets to that point. Um, there are certain characters that are going to die in an actual date on in it in well I
November
mhm,
14th, 2030.
which I've got my counter up on my phone. So for me at least, it's 9 years, 69 days, 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 13 seconds. From now that I know that my character Elena will not be able to come back in any campaign ever. It will like this she'll be gone. Which if people play D&D, right? There's never like there's always that, oh, I could always bring my character back, right? There's never
Yeah.
the they're dead forever kind of feel. Like some people
Mhm.
might say that as like a DM, they're like, no, they're gone. But just like in like any comic book, you know, it's just like, oh, characters don't stay dead forever. Like you can always like summon them from beyond the grave, or you know, like things like that.
Yeah.
And there's ways that you can get around that and be like a cameo appearance all of a sudden.
Mhm.
But what you're doing, Mortem, with this idea, this monastery, is that these characters that choose to do this, with the exception of certain ones that have to do this, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. There are a few that have to, but also if you are a student, even if you leave the monastery, if you become a full student and get the tattoos or you get the clock in your head, either way, you will have a time limit. There are some options to back out, but you have to basically be not an official part of the monastery to be exempt from that.
Yeah.
So, for example, just Raph, who has left the monastery basically.
Mm-hmm.
But even though she has left and is doing her own things for now, she is still on a time limit.
She is?
Hmm.
No. Wait.
Pog.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah. That's why it's a serious decision to join this monastery, because if you join, you are a part of it.
Uh-oh.
Which is why,
Don't tell Scorch.
yeah, I'm not going to say anything more. So she is on a time limit.
Uh-oh. I didn't know that about her. I took over her when you'd introduced, you know, a bunch of different
Mm-hmm.
characters. So I was just like, oh, I'll just start playing one of these. I didn't realize that she had a thing. I apologize.
Oh yeah,
Just Scorch.
she has
We're
it.
gonna have to
That's
freaking. Uh-oh. There's a conversation.
Wrath is dead.
Oh, Wrath is
yep,
dead. She's already the
yep.
angel of death, though. Like, you know, she's.
Yeah, the only way to get out of that and to have another 100 years is to become chosen, which there's only going to be two.
Yeah. I
There
don't.
will only be two per
Mhm.
cycle.
I don't think you should choose officially until it's like the year before,
Oh
because you've mentioned
no,
that.
mhm.
You're like, I
Yeah,
think I know
because
who it's gonna be, and I'm like, it's been like 4 months. Like it could change between now and 8 years from now, right? Like,
true. But also at that time, I was thinking about doing a time skip,
true.
uh, doing a huge time skip.
Mhm.
But now that we're not doing that, I have no idea.
Mhm.
It's if no actual person steps up and becomes chosen,
Mhm.
then I have NPCs who will gladly take their place.
Yeah, so to our listeners, our audience out there, we don't know. We don't know what's going to come of this, right? This is like the first podcast. But how cool would it be if this actually plays out for 9 years and you can join us on this journey? And if you wanted to have your character die on this day, you can. You don't have to, but it was just like a cool thought that I had one night was just like, guys, we shouldn't do a time jump. We should let's do this, you know. I've only known you for
Hell yeah.
3 months, but let's be best friends for 9 years, you know, like let's send this on this idea. And I don't know, it feels right. So we're gonna see what happens and where it goes. You know, if it gets big, cool. If not, it's like I know on that day that my character is no longer able to come back. That's
Yep.
the day that Elena is gone officially forever. You know?
Yep, and that'll be the day that Winston and Mortimer are gone forever as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Who knows?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we were just thinking like, hey, we should just call our YouTube page this and that, Twitter account that, just because like both you and I, Mortem, we have timers on our phones, and that's the name of the end of this timer is the Centrum Annorum, which that was what came to my mind. I was like, what should we call this? And I was like, well, what's my timer? oh, right, it's to this. Oh, yeah, well, that's what we're counting down to. And that's kind of what we're doing. Like, the monastery will reset. So the story can keep going. Because,
Hmm.
let's face it, Zaranth is never going to die. like, he would never choose to die.
No.
Ever. 9 years from now, 100 years from now, never. Your character will live for eternity. Uh,
He'll be the passer of knowledge.
yes, you need to write a book.
You'll just have to pay him enough.
That's right. You should sell the book. Yeah. So what we're gonna do, if this even is a thing, we don't even know, right? This is all just words
Yeah.
out into space. But what if, like, let's think about it for a bit. Like, what if we take this journey with people for 9 years, and then on that day, it resets, these characters are done, and then the story can keep going. It would just not be the same because it's going to be without those characters that started it. At least not Mortem and Winston and Elena.
Hmm.
And then it'll be, the next chapter. Which in most D&D campaigns, you can skip ahead, right? You can have that year jump. You can have that 10-year jump. You can say, well, what do you do over this year? Let's talk about it. But we're only going to spend 4 hours talking about it, and then that's it. Like, there's a lot of things that you can take so many people through in a story that I don't even think we're gonna get through in 9 years. Like, I
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be stuff that we're gonna get to the end, and it's gonna be like we didn't do everything that we wanted to do because things came up, right? We hopefully
Yeah.
get new people to the server, and we get to hear their stories and go on adventures with them, and build that whole fan base of new people. And
Yeah. Because that's kind of how it was with Unus Annus too. Is when they got towards the end, it's like we didn't do everything we wanted to do, but we did what we could.
mhm. I will figure out what's going on with talks though before 9 years are up.
Oh yeah, totally.
I want to
I don't think
know.
I don't think it's gonna take 9 years
Good.
to.
Talks.
I mean, it might, considering his lingual skills.
Mm-hmm.
I love talks, man.
He's great.
I just love getting into like the stupid mindset.
You write him so well, and I will always say this, that I sometimes forget that you are Saranth and Talks because the writing style is similar, but it's
Super
like,
different.
but it's like a totally different character that I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know.
And I just need to remember, like, wait, no, like, the character is being portrayed as a dumb person or a creature, but the person writing this is writing it so well that I believe it, that I forget that they're not the stupid person, right? Tox is the one that's like, doesn't understand what's going on, right? Like, you do it so well.
Thank you.
That I
Yeah.
forget sometimes, like, right, you're freaking Saranth, you're the artificer, like, you're the brain, like,
You have a brain.
yeah, the clicking clacking of Tox running down the hallway made me laugh so hard the other day when you
Oh yeah, I
had him
remember
like
that.
running after Elena who was stuck.
Something big and deadly is coming.
Clicky clacky applause. Like, I can see it. I can see this lizard folk running down the halls of this monastery. I was so petrified. Like, oh my gosh. It's a good thing he's just this puppy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
a good
yeah,
thing
we
he's a
all love
puppy.
him.
Uh-huh.
He's so lovable.
He
If I
is.
found Toxidol in real life, I would do whatever's necessary to make him happy.
Oh, adopt him.
Yes, I would adopt him.
literally like 7.5 feet long. Is that him just standing up, or like does his tail make him over 10 feet? Like,
Oh yeah, no, his tail is really long. Like,
okay.
have you seen how long alligators' tails are?
Yes, yeah, like, yes,
They're long.
Hmm.
yeah. I
But
remember.
he stands really high. I honestly can't keep track of how tall he is because he grows at about an inch a month.
Mhm. I remember when Tox was there when Elena had my first night in the monastery, and you were like, you wanted to be with her and you wanted to stay with friend, and so we had you and another character like entered into Elena's room, and it was like, all right, we're group group uh pile on the bed.
Yeah.
So she just sat up, and I think you like put your head in my lap and like then fell asleep, and it was like, all right, like here we go, like Elena's not alone, which meant a lot, like, and showed a lot of your character and
Hmm.
Elena's character. Oh yeah, she sang a lullaby to you. I remember that. This was before I knew where she was from. I didn't know anything about her backstory necessarily at that point. I didn't know which plane she was from, because I just developed it as I went, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's from Barovia. Of course she's from Barovia. That's what I just played. And so I wrote that song actually for my Barovia Party Curse of Strahd group. And so I sung it to Toxidol, and Toxidol was like, I don't really like music. And I was like, all right, good night. Like, go to sleep, buddy. Go to sleep, big guy. And running with Winston, like that night turned into a long night because she hadn't slept, I think, in a day. And then someone broke into the monastery. So Winston and Elena went and checked it out. And
Yep.
Zranth, you were away from keyboard for the first encounter. So Winston and Elena went, and you were like, Winston was like, don't make me get Freddy. And I was like, ooh, I want to meet Freddy. Having fun with Winston. This was also when I was having, I made the conscious choice of like having Elena like both of them, both of the brothers.
Hmm.
So I was like,
Right.
okay, yeah. So I was like, okay, let's have this little adventure with Winston, and like Elena, you gotta have like a crush on Winston. Like you're excited. And it turned into, oh frick, I'm a lot like Winston. uh,
A lot like Winston,
a
yes.
lot like Winston, and I was really worried because I wanted Mortem to be the one that Elena chose. But I was just like, oh no, like if Winston freaking fell for her, this would be really hard. Um,
And then he shut her down so fast. I wasn't even expecting it.
yeah. Oh, still hurts. Because she was so vulnerable that night. I'm pretty sure that was the night. She didn't get drunk that night. That wasn't the night she got drunk. But she did go. She had to go meet somebody and talk to them because they were trying to open up about stuff. And so she's like, I'll come and meet you in an hour. And then she went because she also felt bad. She wanted to go see Tox. So she went to go hug Tox. And it turned into a 3 hour long hug because Tox
Yeah,
tackled her.
yeah, he just sat on her and then she can't get up.
Yeah. And I rolled, and I was like, okay, I don't want to be the DM person, right? Where it's like, I fail a roll, just re-roll it, right? I was like, some time has to pass before I can make this roll again. So I was like, I'll just have it be every hour. So I rolled, failed. I was like, all right, I'll roll again. Failed. Oh my gosh. Third hour rolled, failed again. Meanwhile, I think Mortem, you were in the room You were over at the bar having a conversation with someone.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
And so when I finally got out, I like ran over to you and was like breathing hard. And was like, talk, stay away. I was like, I have to go do something, but I want to meet with you and Winston in my room later. And so I went and did that conversation, and that guy was like, "You're late," and I'm like, "I'm sorry." And then we had a time paradox. That was the first night we had Elena in two places at once, because I remember we were crunched for time. Like that was when we would play. At least I would only play like at night, and we'd wrap up around like midnight. And so I was like, I only have like 30 minutes before Mortem goes to sleep. I need to have this conversation. So I went and had Elena be in two chats at the same time, and then meshed them together where she had this breakdown talking about, Dante and Scarlet being dead and how she felt guilty about that. And then instantly going into this conversation with Mortem and Winston in her room being like, you guys are my family. Like, I'd do anything for you. And like looking over at Winston, Winston's just like, I like you as a sister. And it was like, oh, Winston.
Yep.
But then Mortem did the best thing ever, which was so cool. Mortem was there. Mortem was there at the right moment, the right time. And that was like the first time that he called her his Silver Queen and like lifted her chin. And it was so sweet. And it was so good. It was like, all right, here we go. So it took her a while to like really get over Winston, because I thought for a while like, well, she's not really over him. And then Mortem and Elena got together. And then I was just like, okay, like why does this still hurt that Winston turned her down? So I was like, okay, I need to just play this little devil's advocate. Like, because I'm also thinking of the standpoint of like, people are gonna read this and they're gonna be like, Elena, why don't you just make Winston like you? Like, go for it, So I was like, all right, Elena's gonna try one last time.
Mm-hmm.
And she only did that because Winston brought it up.
Yep.
Oh!
Which even then, at the end, he said you would have ended up in the same place that you are now, basically. So why choose me and go through the heartache? So
Yeah. Was not expecting that. A lot of what I have Elena do is based off of emotion, of what, like, putting myself in that circumstance, right? And so that's why there's a lot of heart behind. I think we all do that. I think we all put a lot of heart into our characters.
Mhm.
Like when
Yeah, without a doubt.
when Tox is sad, it's like, oh, like, like Tox is sad, and when Zaranth is angry, like I can see it, like, lightning's crackling, and or when Mortem's having a breakdown, or Winston's being a total jerk. Like, there's so much that we're able to portray um, through text and emotions. So yeah, this game is awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I really like Talks at all. It's just like coming up with how he would portray certain things and ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his vocabulary is already really limited, and even in Draconic, which is his native language, it's not much better.
No, it's not.
I remember that coming in the inn, and you were a lizard folk. So I was like, maybe Elena knows Draconic. And I was like, but you know what? I'm gonna make it like not very good Draconic. Like, she knows a little bit. Like, it's pretty broken, right? Like, broken English.
Mhm.
So which is cool because you were playing it that way where Tox had broken common, basically. He could say things, so it was fun to play that out.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, like that's what we're able to do with this game is play out these different ideas that we have that we're not able to do necessarily the same way in a campaign. Just because there's other people talking or playing, story goes on.
I can't find that conversation where Winston said that now. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, the what if they had...
No, not the what if, the you're not my type.
Oh, forever ago? The first time?
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking the first time? Or
yes, the first time.
When he said, like, I see you more as a sister?
Yes.
It was the first time that Mortem called her the Silver Queen. So, if we go into the chat in the... let's see.
Okay.
June 1st. Yep, let's look. He's like, I get what you're trying to say. I think of you as a sister. Yeah, this was she's like, I need to talk. Let's talk. I need to tell you what happened today. Winston, let's talk right outside here since we're outside your door. She walks in, lets them enter, then sits down in her chair behind her desk, head in her hands. Gorm was here today. I spoke to him through Ascending Stone to try to see what he was up to. He told me some things, and I don't plan on hiding it any from you. We're family. And Winston's like, what do you mean family? He says out of curiosity, and takes a spare chair what's in the room. Mortem just sits on the edge of the bed. I told this to Mortem, she says, her voice soft. I put you two first above all else now. Whatever you need me to do, I'm happy to do it. I want to do it. You've changed my life, and in a way that I can't fully explain, it's as though everything lined up perfectly for this. She avoids looking at Winston, too afraid to see his reaction. Which, this is her being shy. And Winston's like, okay, that still doesn't answer my question. Her voice fails, unable to explain it. A bond, then? Something stronger than friendship? She looks at Winston. I would do anything for you. For both of you. I get what you're trying to say. I think of you as a sister. She nods slowly. A sister. She looks back down, her hair covering most of her face. And someone commented, like, oh, you got friend zoned. It's like, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. But Mortem was right there. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, I am super stoked for Mortem and Elena. Like, 100%, I wanted them to be the thing.
Yeah.
For the record, that was always the goal. Because, he was there at the beginning. There were just so many similarities with Winston. I was like, I can't not have this be a thing, like a possibility to have her explore, even though I wanted to be like, no, like, it's obviously Mortem, Yeah. Yeah, there's been some fun stuff with these that we were able to play. The Zaranth, you've got a girl.
Yeah, I've got a girl.
You got a girl. Tell us about your girl.
Oh yeah. So, when I got fucking
Get the
name,
title.
never remember.
I know, right? Hang on.
Yeah,
I
you
gotta
know,
pull it up too.
you know her as the High Daughter of the Brechia Clan of Wings, Lady of the Shattered Coins, but me, I am privileged enough to call her Maisie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Oh man. She was another half dragon.
Mm-hmm.
We met in the inn. I think, yeah, we met. She was coming to see him. She looked in and then didn't see Saranth. And then Ixar, like,
Yes.
hammered.
Yes, he was. I remember that.
I mean, Ixar's always drunk.
Mm-hmm.
He's not happy unless he is.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And she was just like, "I'm here to see this rant. You know, like I'll be back."
Yeah, he's gonna be here for he's gonna be here in time. You just get back in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then when she did enter, she ignored everybody, which was the first time that everyone got to see that side of me playing somebody. So I remember Mortem, you were like, okay then, like you were like, she was standoffish to
Mhm.
you, and all of a sudden you were like, well, I'm gonna be standoffish to her. Like, you know, I could feel that in the writing that your reaction. Um, and yeah, because she was just as full of herself as maybe Zaranth was, you know, like she had one mission and that's all she cared about. So,
Mm.
and I wanted to
Yeah.
portray that in a way that was like, hey, she's paying attention to Saranth here, so you know, either he's gonna accept it or not, like.
Yeah. And then when I can't remember if this was the first or second time they've met, but she offered to show him like something that she owns. I think it was, what did she refer to it as? Her hoard?
It was her hoard. It was. I
Yeah.
don't remember the whole thing. Oh, I think it was the. I think it was the second time. I want to
Yeah.
say it was the first or second. I think it was the second. Maybe it wasn't, because she showed it to you and she didn't tell you her name. She was
Right.
like, "You're not worthy yet of my name, but I'm going to show you my hoard." And I remember like describing what they went through and did, and then she left, and I asked you. I was like, if you try to steal anything, she's not going to stop you, but she's going to know if it's gone. So I need to know, what's your choice here? Do you steal from her, you know? And you didn't.
Yeah, he ended up not. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Which it turned out great, because I was like, do I want this character to be evil? Like, do I want her to be like trying to steal his gold? You know, I thought that. I was like, this could easily be someone that's trying to manipulate him. But then it turned into a no. Like, I want someone that's gonna be like, what? Like, how could I? What would Zaranth go for? Like, you know, in a girl, like who would he settle with, right? Like, not settle, but you know. So
Her.
so it was like somebody that that has a name that has a lot of gold, a lot of money, a lot of reputation, and cares about reputation. And yeah, that was fun to write. I'm glad
Yeah.
that you received that well, that worked out well. You have a wedding to do.
Yeah, I do.
I thought for the longest time, I was like, I think Mortem and Elena are gonna get married last. All these other people are gonna get married. So for the longest time, I was like, they're gonna get married last. And then it was like, oh, they got eloped. They eloped.
Nope. Just get married now. Why wait?
Why wait?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Saran, he hasn't gotten married yet because he's been planning like the fucking Yeah, he's planning a lot. I haven't figured out how far he's gonna go, but
I'm curious.
Interested to see how far he goes.
it's probably gonna be like just a fucking private planet, something along those lines.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
A whole plane, a whole planet. I love it. You just have like a whole party of wizard mages that you have specifically hired to do a bunch of like magnificent mansions for people so they can enter.
Like the entire wedding is just a bunch of illusion mages.
Yep. Oh gosh. Yeah, I already have ideas of how I'm drawing her, because she's got diamonds in her wings. Like she is so rich. And she doesn't need to
Mhm.
fly. She specifically gave you like that gift because she doesn't believe that she needs to fly, period. Like, no. Like, why do we need to fly when we have technology that helps us do this? Why work when you can have something else work for you?
Hmm.
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, shoot, yeah. What do you guys want to talk about? Because I mean, we can talk about whatever we want on here.
Hmm. I really like the fact that the monastery, like, I don't think I've told you, Mortem, but I think
Mhm.
that the idea of just having like personalized rooms is just really cool, and I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like when I was reading Strand's Room for the first time, I was like, yeah, he did this for me. For me, one person that spent time built this for me because of things that he collected as a like thing that made
Yeah.
sense in character. Like there's a brewery because he brews. There's the vault because he's very protective of his things and all sorts of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why that's one of the reasons why I don't just give people rooms. It's like you can just have a generic room if you want, but if you want something special, I need time and I need to get to know the character at least a little bit
Mm-hmm.
to get a good guess.
Yeah, your creativity hooked me so hard in this story with the monastery being this whole thing, like, because the whole premise was it started in an inn, right? Anyone could come to this inn and leave,
Mm-hmm.
but no one else really showcased their backstory the way that you did, where you're from this monastery and you go home every night to this monastery, and then sometimes you take people through the monastery on a tour, and
Yeah.
and and like I can envision it every single time that we go somewhere in text, even if we're in the same chat. Like my mind goes to a different place. Like we go through that portal.
Mm-hmm.
We go to the monastery. I see the fighting pit. I see the hallways. I see the doors. Like I see the doors so clearly in my mind. Like that hallway is so clear. Like where we had the gate
Mm-hmm.
from Gorm was there. Um, we've got like so many things. So when you like all of a sudden it was a different storytelling than I'd ever really experienced, was like, we're running to the monastery, like come with me. I was like, oh my gosh, yes. I want to go to this monastery. I want to see what this is about. And you had it so laid out that it was like a whole world that was already created,
Mm-hmm.
that was so cool to just suddenly be a part of, which I think is another reason why this story is going to go so well when it's like released, is because it's instantly like things are built. Like I feel bad for not having as much creative juice as you guys do. Like you guys are insanely talented. Like,
Yeah, but I'm gonna just intersect for a moment. You do your creative stuff in different ways, because even like I've changed the way I've done things. It's like you are more of like a character by character. You describe things in a lot more detail, because there are times when even like I write a response to something that you've said, and then you come up with some other response that is just, it's like it's a little bit longer, but it also feels sometimes like the better thing that could have been said by what my characters, but or like spells. It's like before you joined, really, everyone kind of just described their spells as I cast this or this happens, or if there was some flavor text, it would be very small, not as like, oh, have a stick of gum or what?
mm-hmm,
What kind of spell involves a stick of gum
mm-hmm.
or carrots or anything like that? So
Yeah, I
your creative
remember.
is just in a different style. Go ahead.
Yeah, I remember when I started. Like the flavor text that I would use would really just be like I would type it out and then I would just type the name of the spell in the description so I don't have to say like, oh yeah, in parentheses I cast haste or
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I really like I just really like the difference between like how everything works. Like the entire concept of Strength Screwdriver, despite
Yes.
being, you know, a just a regular magic item.
Mm-hmm. And
I really like flavoring it.
his staff, yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, his staff.
so good.
I was wondering how long it was going to take for someone to find out and
I
someone to say that's not a staff, that's a gun.
I knew it was a gun when you started looking down it. I think it was the first battle that we were in, and
Yeah,
we were in the monastery in the fighting pit, and you flew up onto the wall, and then you started
yeah, we were
looking down the scope at
a
it, and I was like,
spyglass.
yes, and I was like, in my mind, I didn't see it as a gun per se. Like I saw it as a cane more than anything else, with like a like think of it like a sniper bolt action rifle that's like just literally just like
Walking cane.
the cane. Like if it were stripped down, there's not even a stock, right? It's just this stick that you can insert whatever spell you're about to cast, right, into this as a bullet,
Yeah,
and you're like gonna cast it. Like that's what I see. That's exactly
that
what I saw.
it reminds me of those like cursed images with like sniper scopes put on things that should not have sniper scopes on them.
uh,
I still see your staff as a staff, but it looks more technology. It has a lot. It looks different. I can't really describe it because I don't know how to. But in my mind, it still looks like a staff. But like when you put your sights up to it, there's like magic basically that pops up where your staff would be, and then you can look in through that.
mhm.
That's
I
super
wish
cool.
I could like conjure a visual image of what the staff looks like because it looks really cool, but it's still a staff.
Start
Right.
drawing. Just start drawing. Oh, I'm so excited to release some pictures too with all of this. Like that's another thing we're going to be doing.
I know.
Pictures. Saranth
Like
looks so cool.
I want to post that picture of Saran.
I do too. So
Mhm.
badly. Just so people are like, respect him. You know, look at him. I actually went through the other server and deleted all those photos, which hurt me. But I deleted them because it's like, if I'm going to sell these, like, I want them to not be out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that people aren't just like, oh, I just got him for free. It's like, you know, and I can relabel them and stuff, so it's like actually our name or whatever on it that we want, rather than the red dragon inn at the bottom or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Like Tox. Oh my god, Tox.
Tox hug in the pillow fort. He's so
I
good.
love Tux.
You guys get free access to all my photos. You can have them whenever you want. And if you, like, Saranth, if you want a different background or whatever, you can tell me and be like, hey, can I just have just him? Like, not the magazine, cover.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to do that and tweak things because it's easy once it's made to tweak it. I mean, look what I did with Mortem and Winston's, unmasking pictures. Like I was just going crazy, having so much fun, being like, I can change so much and put them together, and yeah. Which is just cool to see like what we do come alive. Like this picture that's up, right? The Mondays in the Monastery, that astral sea, like I made that and it makes it all of a sudden feel real. Like that we're in, like we describe so much. There's a lot of detail when we do things. When we take people on adventure, like there's that whole immersive atmosphere that we try to make, just like a real campaign. And so it's just like, yeah, like this is an example of like what we see. Like right now, Elena is sitting at this table looking around at all these stars and we're just talking. Zarantha, you've got your recording device in the center of the table. It's whirring away, which I love that. I love that flavor with your recording device.
Oh my god. It's actually, I believe it's a real magic item in Base 5e.
Okay.
Or at least Acquisitions Incorporated.
Okay. That you're able to record things when you're not there. Which was brilliant, because after a while, we couldn't all play online at the same time, but stuff would go on that you were like, I need to know what happened. So you just record what people were saying. So you did hear what was going on, like.
I wouldn't be able to see, but close enough.
Like when I do lore dumps, and it would just be like so much lore, and I'm like, here's what we need to figure out, and it's like 5 bullet points. like okay, well, and it's just like it's been building up though, is the thing. Like when we had Gorm as our conflict, there was so much so often that I had to start keeping a Word doc, which is super cool.
Yeah, I was also taking notes at that point of like certain things that popped up. I was like, okay, they're going to remember this moment more versus a lot of other stuff that's happening. But now I haven't taken notes in a while.
Yeah, because there hasn't been as much conflict. But we create like our own conflict is the other thing too, like, or whatever scene you want to say, like play out, right? Like we did the Wyvern race. I loved the Wyvern race.
Oh yeah, Wyvern race was great.
And like the heist, I'm excited for Saranth going on whatever other adventure you have to be determined, whatever that might be.
Yeah, as soon as we end this, then I'm gonna,
come up with some ideas.
No, I already have it all ready.
Oh, you got it there. Sweet. Send it.
Right now?
No.
That's what I thought.
No, I'm going to be working a lot this week on the story, I've decided. Trying to give Elena a break. Because it's been like 4 months we've been like playing this game almost nonstop in my mind. And it's just like, oh my gosh. It's been really nice to just take a break and be like, oh, I'm not Elena today. Like I woke up and I didn't have to worry about like, what nightmare did she have last night? Or what, what's going on with Mortem? Or is there a god outside my door that's trying to melt my arm off, like.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I've taken a break a couple times with the twins, but it's just been kind of nice to step back specifically from one of them, Mortem, and not have to worry about what's going on with him
Mm-hmm.
because he's fine and happy at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So yes, there will be adventures still to come.
Mhm.
I'll see if we can share this, our YouTube and our Discord with like there are Facebook pages that people post that you can post a link like once a week to Discord, so people can come. The other thing too is like if we're still setting it up and we're still trying to get the story out, how fast do we want to get things out? Like for me, I'm totally cool taking a lull and having this break. I know other people want to play though, so like Saranth, you can play with people in the manor or whatever, like I don't want to make anyone feel left out because I'm trying to actually get our story out, but I also understand that like we got to get this out and I have the time to do it, so I'm gonna do it. Like,
Yeah.
someone needs to do it and I can do it, so I'm gonna do it. Yeah, because otherwise it'll never, like, we've said for months like I really want to write this down, in one place. And I started doing it. I even started doing it once a day, where at the end of the day, I took everything from that day and put it into a Word doc. And then I grew out of that habit. It's like, dang it, now we have so much content. We gotta go through it all.
Yep.
So it'll get big eventually. It'll be good. It'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
without a doubt.
trying to get that first video this week up. I think of one of the cool moments that happened early on. Get like a Patreon up, and then just start putting out quality content, because it's not about quantity. Like I studied a little bit of like social media marketing for school. And they're like, oh, upload a video a day and you'll eventually get a fan base. But it's like, if it's not good quality, like you're not going to get what you want out of it. So, but if you have good quality and you put it up once in a while, you're still going to get a good fan base. It just might take as long as it takes.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, I'll help where I can when I can.
Yeah.
Working on getting that stuff out. Because I will have some times here and there where I can help with that.
Yep, for sure. For sure. Even just like like all the commenting that we've done in our Discord with planning and trying to get together and bouncing ideas off of each other has been really helpful. Because it's not just one of us coming up with this idea, like it's all of us helping each other get this story out. Which is freaking awesome. We have this huge to-do list. It's so big.
Yep.
We're gonna get it done though. I mean, we're doing this one. We're doing this. We got podcasts.
Good podcast.
Good podcast. Yeah, come listen to our voices. This is how we're gonna record our things. Bridget gets fired. Looking forward to that animation.
When's the animation gonna come out of Sranth having a crisis while you two act like snobs?
Mm-hmm.
It was so funny. It was just like, it just hit me. Wait a second. We just need to act like Sramp.
You're not even close to acting like him, but somehow you still made him offended.
Yep.
You know, flashbacks to stuff. If we want to, we could even do like a reading on the podcast. You know, where it's like, hey, let's just pick a story and let's just read it so people like get an idea of what we're doing. But we don't have to.
Maybe.
Okay.
Now I'm thinking about it, but it's like maybe a little bit here and there.
Is the podcast over?
No. I can end it if you want to.
Well, now I feel obliged to like keep it going for a little bit longer.
Nah, let's go ahead and end it, and then we can keep talking.
All right, cool. Yeah, we can ramble and go on. Great.
Yeah.
Well, shoot. I think my timer is off. Why is my timer off? For Centrum Annorum? It says that I've got... No, it's got to be right.
Oh, well,
9 years.
I guess they're not going to die
69
anymore.
days and 30 minutes.
Why would it end in 30 minutes, though? That's at 1 a.m. That makes no sense.
Well, did you say they're going to die? Did you say the timer's going to end in 3 minutes?
30 minutes
It's
is
all
the
going to end in
minute.
3 minutes. There we go. Before we even start,
Oh,
it's
gosh.
already ended.
All right, 3 minutes, go.
What do
You got
we do?
anything you want to say before you die? We'll get it out right now.
Memento Mori, I guess. If I'm dying in 3 minutes, shoot. Quick, Morton, let's go to the Feywild. Quick.
Yep,
The
go
Feywild's great at this time of year.
Quick.
You can get some really cheap. You can get some really cheap wedding supplies at Loxodol. I don't think you'll survive the monorail ride.
Gosh, no. 3 minutes. Let's plane shift quick to a sunrise in Thrain.
Yep, plane shift, live for the next 10 years.
In the Feywild.
So.
Yep. Come back, all of a sudden we've got kids. Like 2 minutes later, like, hey, Saran, these are our kids. Last minute, we're plane shifting. Oh. And yeah. No, seriously, why does my countdown say 9 years, 69 days, 29 minutes? It should say, because that means that it's ending at 1 a.m. That makes no sense. It says that it ends at 11:59. Oh, is there a... Right! There's,
Daylight
savings. I was like, why is this off?
Well, can you like move it to like not daylight savings? Can you ask it to?
No, it's
slow down.
It's calculated it in. It's just right. It makes no sense where if it's ending at midnight, it should have already like if the countdown would go with the midnight, but it doesn't. There's a half hour off or an hour off. I guess it's an hour off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm making sense right now.
No, I get it because I'm also looking at the official. I mean, looking at the official clock because it's mine, but
yeah, no, we've got it synced now. I synced it to yours, so it's the official one. You're the initial official, though. Yeah, like your clock's gonna be the one that we go off of Mortem when it's at the end.
Yeah,
and be like, okay, and I'll just like have my character sheet up, and it'll be Elena going to the deceased pile. Oh. I mean, who knows what's going to happen between now and then, but it's going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, there goes 3 minutes. I guess that was it.
Yep, that was it.
It's gone. 3 minutes. Oof. No, we've still got 16 seconds left. 12. 10. Memento Mori.
Mhm. Thank you for being here.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you. I don't think any of this stuff could have happened without any of us,
Mhm.
No way.
or even different people.
Yeah. For real. Like, I remember when our groundskeeper, he left, we call him Gorm or Cathral or whatever. He's still Gorm in my eyes. Like, every time I'm like, Gorm, when he left the server, I was so sad. And I had Elena play that out, being so sad, and I took screenshots of what she did with the king and saying checkmate. And like I sent that to him, and he was just like, I wasn't expecting to cry this morning. Like, I was just like, no, we need, like, this can't be the end. We need our bad guy. And it turned into he started a server, and then he was like, you should start a server, Elena. And you should be the one in charge. And you should be, like, the one that, like, gets this going. And I was just like, what? What? And all of this has come because of you guys, because you guys have encouraged me to be creative and encouraged me to like try to do this and use my skills that I have. Like, I have these skills, I'm just not, like, they haven't come to fruition. Like Sarant said one night, like, you were just like, you have these goals, and they've, like, you're not a failure, they just haven't come to fruition yet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so the countdown. We'll end with that. I'll end the stream. So people can enjoy our 3-hour podcast where we talk about stuff that they have no idea what we're talking about.
Yep.
Be like, here's the scoop. So, Mortem, go ahead and end us with the clock and the farewells.
Do I plug Twitter that we have yet? Nah, I'll just end it like whatever. I'll end it. Thank you for being here. For those of you who did watch, we'll be back again next Monday around 9:30 PST. Memento Mori. See you next time.
Memento Mori. Thanks for being here.
Memento mori.
Have a great night.